Hey everybody, what's going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you all. So today I'm going to be talking about a couple of announcements that have come up recently here in Master Duel. We have some confirmation of some of the leaks that have been going around lately about a new selection pack as well as a new secret pack. Looks like as far as secret packs go, we're going to be getting a secret pack for Labrynth that will be accompanied by Destiny board. Yay! Well, in any case, I am definitely glad that I already picked up my 3 Welcome Labrynth as well as my 1 Lovely Lady during the initial secret pack they debuted in. But of course, it is also great for people to have the ability to still get that older support for some of the newer cards. I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but there is also a leak going around for a secret pack that contains both Punks and Karakuris, which is an interesting combination as well. Of course, the bulk of what I'm talking about here today is the selection pack that will be available on the 7th of July. That's going to be the Dreaded Conspiracy Pack. Looks like the sort of themes of this pack are going to be Fiend monsters and or back rows, as looks like Dark World, Labrynth, Traptrix, Generaider are among the cards, as well as some, Magic-y. I was like, what's the other archetype? Oh yeah, Magic-y, whatever. But I am excited for quite a few of these cards. They have officially spoiled a couple of the Ultras, one of which is going to be Leviathan Generaider, Boss of Shadows. Unfortunately, I'm not that much of a Generaider player myself, so that is not one of the archetypes I'm particularly thinking about when I say I'm looking forward to this new pack. I'm more referring to Dark World. So rather than take a look at the explanation here in game, I'm just going to go ahead and pop over to Master Duel meta here, where it's going to give us some better visualization for these cards. So let's start with one of the namesakes, the Generaider here, Leviathan. It's going to be a rank 9 fairy that takes 2+ level 9 monsters, 2500 attack and defense. You can only control 1 Leviathan Generaider of Boss of Shadows. Monsters your opponent controls with 1000 attack and defense. That's just a continuous effect. And then as a quick effect, you contribute the Exceeds summoned card, special summon 1 non-fairy Generaider Exceeds monster from your extra deck, then you can attach any cards from any field and or graveyard so that special summon monster has a material up to the number of materials this card had. So obviously pretty good, allows you to set up any of your Generaider Exceeds and also steal a bunch of cards from your opponent to attach to it as Exceeds materials. Again, I don't know much about Generators myself because I don't really play them, but it does seem like a very nice option for the deck here. This Grapha is honestly, this and other Dark World cards that we'll go over shortly. I want to go over the Dark World cards more in depth because those are the ones that I am a bit more excited to use myself in a bunch of various different iterations. But the new Grapha, I've actually alluded to this card a couple of times in the past as a potential option in tier limits. Now, this does take the original Grapha Dragon Lord of Dark World as a fusion material. However, remember King of the Swamp, that random card that got limited a long time ago? Well, a couple of months ago. That was actually pretty useful in tier limits in the OCG, and I think a little bit in the TCG too, when it was used in conjunction with this Grapha in order to be able to summon it. The Fusion Grapha is a level 10 Fiend Fusion that takes Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, and any Dark Monster. 3200 attack, 2300 defense. When your opponent activates a monster effect or a normal spell or trap card, while you have a card in your hand, you can, as a quick effect, activate this effect. The activated effect of your opponent's card becomes your opponent discards 1 card. You can only use this effect once per turn. If this fusion summoned card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon one of your Grapha Dragon Lord of Dark World that is banished or in your graveyard. Then each player with a hand discards a card. So, being able to act pretty much as an Omni-Negate, it doesn't negate your opponent's effect outright, but it changes it into an effect that just makes you discard a card, which is definitely not as bad as a lot of things are going to be negating, especially since you're going to be playing Dark World cards, which want to be discarded specifically by your opponent's stuff. The ability to recur a Grapha is also nice, and then also discard a card as well. Labrynth has actually a couple of cards coming in. One of the big ones going to be Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle. It's a Fiend level 8 monster with 3000 attack, 2900 defense. While you control a set card, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, also cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Lady Labrynth of the Silver Castle once per turn. If a Labrynth card or effect or a normal trap card is activated this turn, except Lady of the Labrynth, as a quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When a normal trap card is activated as a quick effect, you can set a normal trap card with a different name directly from your deck. So This is what makes not only Labrynth, but also Furniture Labrynth in particular, a lot better of a deck. Furniture Labrynth being the iteration that plays like the cuckoo clocks and the chandeliers and like just like a lot of those cards. Particularly the cuckoo clock becomes more worth it. With Lady Labrynth, it becomes a lot easier to set literally any normal trap card from your deck that you want. We also have some more Traptrix cards coming out, including this Link 3, Traptrix Atypus, Insect Link Monster, again, Link 3, 1800 attack. Takes 2 or more monsters, including an insect or plant monster. This Link summoned card is unaffected by trap effects. All Traptrix monsters you control gain 1000 attack while you have a normal trap card in your graveyard once per turn. You can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect and plant monsters you control, negate their effects, and then apply this effect to banish a normal trap card from your graveyard, and if you do, destroy one of those targeted cards. So, it doesn't just have use in Traptrix, but if you're playing just generic insect and or plant decks, this card can definitely be worth considering. As a board breaker going second, although a board breaking effect on a Link 3 is kind of rough because that means you have to play through a board in order to make a Link 3 to break their board. It also doesn't get rid of their board, just kind of negates their effects. So in that regard, it's like kind of as far as Traptrix in general go, like I don't really have any plans to try it. Dark World, like I said, I'm going to be trying a lot of. Labrynth, I already have a lot of the stuff, so I figure why not, I'll build that too. But the other packs from this deck, as far as Magic Key goes, like, do I even need to bother reading the Magic Key card? It's like, no shade towards this archetype, it's just not that great, so I don't really feel a particular need to cover them in depth. But, you know, I've read all the other ones, I'll read this one too. Magic Key Deity Ashtartu is a rank 8 Exceeds monster. Fairy, 2 level 8 monsters once per turn. When you're a normal monster or a Magic Key monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, already off to a great start. You can detach one material from this card, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. Once per turn during your opponent's main phase, it's a quick effect. You can target one monster your opponent controls with the same attribute as a normal or a Magic Key monster you control, always in your graveyard. Detach one material from this card, and if you do, banish that. Okay, so, you know, the quick banish is pretty good. It's conditional, but, I mean, because the normal and Magic Key monsters can be in your graveyard, I guess it's not that conditional. The other effect is really rough, though. Like, that's very situational. To detach a material just to do some damage when you destroy something by battle is, I don't know, it just doesn't seem that particularly great of an effect. Like, why does it have to detach to activate that effect? I feel like that could have just been like a continuous effect, but, you know. It is what it is. So, okay, yeah, and this is just talking about the new secret pack as well. So yeah, like I said, Dark World and Labrynth are the big things that I'm mainly looking forward to, so in that regard, I'm going to cover those two archetypes a little bit more in depth. Let's just start with Labrynth, because they only have one other card that's coming out, and that's going to be the big Welcome Labrynth. This is the other big card that they're getting alongside the Lady Labrynth, the Silver Castle here, is yet another trap card. Big Welcome Labrynth says, special summon a Labrynth monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, then return one monster you control to the hand. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Fiend monster you control, or if you control a level 8 or higher Fiend monster, you can target one card your opponent controls instead, return that card to the hand. You can only use one Big Welcome Labrynth effect per turn, and only once on that turn. So, this card, as you can see, is a bit of an up/side grade from the regular Welcome Labrynth. This card can only pull Labrynth monsters out of the deck, but this one is hand, deck, or graveyard, so not only more of Labrynth's best effect, but also a better version of its best effect is definitely welcome. You do have to bounce a card that is on your hand, but it's really not that hard to do that, particularly with stuff like Ariana, right? Labrynth already has, and also like the furniture, all the Labrynth furniture cards as well. Labrynth already has a bunch of extra incidental monsters that it does not mind returning to the hand at all, as it's not only they're not only not needed on the field, but they have, you know, more recursion and use when they're returned to the hand. So between that and the lovely Lady Labrynth, which is already a definitely decent rogue deck, is definitely going to be getting a lot better moving forward here. Alright, now in addition to, of course, the Labrynth, there is also the Dark World effects, which they are getting quite a few more cards, and I'm going to be talking about them a little bit more in depth here because I'm quite eager for these cards here. So one of the other new ones coming out is Peril Hermit of the Dark World. If this is discarded by a card effect, you can target a Dark World monster in your graveyard, except this one, special summon it. Then if this card was discarded by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon another fiend monster that's banished in your hand or in the graveyard. This one's okay. I don't know that it sees too much play. Genta, Gateman of the Dark World, is going to be a fantastic addition. So this card, you can only special summon one of it per turn, but you can discard this monster to the graveyard to add one the Gates of Dark World from your deck to your hand. Then if this card is banished and you control a Dark World card, you can special summon it. So for those who aren't familiar with the Dark World archetype, Gates of Dark World is Dark World's main field spell. Once per turn, while it's in play, you can banish a fiend from your graveyard to discard a fiend monster and then draw a card. So pretty self-explanatory what the line is here. We're going to be using Genta, discarding it to add Gates. Then we'll use Gates effect, banish the Genta out of the graveyard to discard yet another Dark World monster and draw a card. We'll special summon Genta off its effect, and then also get the effect of the Dark World card that we discarded as well. So that's very nice. Salamander Catalyzer, I don't know if this was just in the structure deck. This will probably come out with the other stuff too, but it's a level 4 Fire Fiend with 1600 attack, 200 defense, Fire Monster with 200 defense. That means it can be rekindling for what that's worth. You can reveal this and one Fiend monster in your hand, special summon one of them and discard the other. When a monster is destroyed by battle involving your Fiend while it's in the graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. So this is more discarding fodder if we need it, but I don't think it's really that necessary, to be honest. Rainbow, Overking of Dark World. This is actually another pretty exciting piece of support. It's a level 8 Dark Fiend with 3000 attack, 1800 defense. You can special summon this card from your graveyard by returning a level 7 or lower Dark World monster you control to the hand. If this card is discarded by a card effect, you can add one level 5 or higher Dark World monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of this card. Then if it was discarded by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Dark World monster from your deck or graveyard to either field. So that's pretty nice. Being able to search the Grapha is already pretty good, but also being able to pull a Dark World monster out of deck occasionally when you change your opponent's monster effect is pretty good. Also, the ability to summon itself even beyond just discarding, just by bouncing a Dark World monster. Very handy to have that effect as well. Dark World Archives is a continuous spell card that says during your main phase you can discard one Dark World monster, and if you do, Dark World monsters you currently control gain attack equal to the level of the discarded monster times 100 until the end of the turn. If a monster whose original type is Fiend is discarded from your hand by the effect of a Dark World card or an opponent's card effect, even during the damage step you can discard a card, then draw 2 cards. That's really good. You can only use each of these effects once per turn, so that's just more draw and excuses to discard. I think with Dark World Archives in particular, there's definitely no need for Salamander Catalyzer or effects like that. Dark World Puppetry is a quick play spell that says target up to 3 dark cards in a graveyard, banish them, then discard one Fiend monster. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one of your banished Fiend monsters, add it to your hand. I don't really think this is necessary. This is just like trying to get more recursion in alongside discarding, but I think it's kind of meh, to be totally honest. Dark World Ascension is the fusion spell for Dark World, and it's a pretty exciting one too. It is a quick play spell card that says during the main phase, fusion summon one Fiend fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing materials mentioned on it from your field or graveyard. If fusion summoning a Dark World monster this way, you can also discard monsters as a material. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand and discard a Dark World monster. You can only use each effect of Dark World Ascension once per turn. So how cool is that? Standalone already, it just acts as a kind of quick play miracle fusion for Fiend fusions, already really good. But the ability to fuse by discarding Dark World monsters, so not only fusing with them, but also triggering their effects, also insane, and even has another way for you to discard monsters to recur this card back to your hand. So Dark World Ascension I think is another very cool and very nice addition to the deck here. They also have a trap card, a counter trap card called Dark World Punishment. When a monster would be normal or special summoned, you can negate the summon, and if you do destroy that monster, then discard one Fiend monster. If a Dark World monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect, banish this card instead. I think these kind of counter traps that just negate a summon or an effect are not really worth it generally most of the time. As far as extra deck cards, we already covered Grapha, but there's also Muckraker from the Underworld. This hasn't been confirmed, but I think that it came out around the same time as all this other stuff, so there's a decent shot, especially because it just generally supports Fiends. I think there's a pretty good shot we'll be seeing it in this this selection pack rather here coming up. So Muckraker from the Underworld is a Link 2 Fiend monster summoned using any 2 effect monsters. It's got 1000 attack. Cannot be used as a Link material the turn that it is summoned. If a monster you control be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can choose a Fiend monster instead. You can target 1 Fiend monster in your graveyard except Muckraker from the Underworld. Discard 1 card, and if you do, special summon that monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for Fiend monsters. You can only use this effect once per turn. So the discarding is not a cost, it is part of the effect. That means it will trigger your Dark World monsters. But again, it's generally useful for Fiends, period, so you could definitely expect to see it in Labrynth extra decks as well. Again, not confirmed, but I think it's pretty likely this card's going to be in the pack there. So as far as Dark World cards go, these new ones allow the deck to go in a lot of different directions. As always, you can pair them with Dangers to pretty good effect, as the two archetypes play together very nicely. Dark World's also played very well with Bestials, of course, being dark and caring about cards getting banished and whatnot. And on top of that, of course, because they have fusion support, they can be played with tier limits as well. You can fuse a Grapha or a King of the Swamp with a dark monster, a tier limit monster, to not only summon Grapha, but then trigger the tier limit effect as well. You could play this as a 60 card pile deck, which I'll definitely probably be doing. You could play using the Dark World bodies as synchro fodder, which I'll also probably be doing at some point. So definitely expect me to see me messing around with the Dark World cards quite a bit, as well as again Labrynth as well. But that's pretty much all I have to say about this new selection pack. I'm actually decently excited for it. I'm really excited to see all the different Dark World variants I can make, and to also be trying a more back row based deck. I don't play those more often, and like I said, I do plan on playing Labrynth, so to be trying out a back row based deck I think will be pretty rad as well. Definitely don't be afraid to let me know what you think of this upcoming selection pack in the comments below, what archetypes you're excited to try, and how you think the meta will shape up as a result. But that's all the time I've got for now, so let's go ahead and move to our outro. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the very end of the video like this. That means a whole lot to me, not just personally, but it's also a great way of supporting the channel as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other means, you can of course feel free to comment and or subscribe right here on YouTube. I'm always looking to the comments section. You guys leave some pretty awesome feedback as far as like constructive criticism goes when it comes to deck building, gameplay, channel content, all that stuff. So feel free to leave your opinion down there. I will be sure to take a look at that there. And then subscribing is going to be the best way to get notifications of when these videos drop. That does happen every day, by the way, so if you're looking for daily Master Duel content, you've come to the right place. And there are more places where you can get some daily Master Duel content. If you check out the description below, follow the top link over to my Patreon page. There for just $5 a month, which is as much as you pay for a booster pack. You'll find a lot more value than a pack full of filler over there. We've got some previews for content upcoming here on the channel. We've got some exclusive games that are only posted over on Patreon over there. We've got some Q&As, and then you can also have your name featured in this lovely credit sequence where I thank all of the people who are helping contribute over there on Patreon. It's a huge support to the channel, and it really means a lot as well. So thank you everyone who is donating that is featured here on screen. And again, you know, it's not just a pure donation, you do get some more daily Master Duel content over there just for being a part of the Patreon. But I think that's about all the time that I have for today's video. Once again, I just want to thank you so very much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. Again, it just means a lot as I do put a decent amount of work into getting these videos out every single day. But that's about all the time that I've got for now, so without further ado, this is XLex. I'm signing out, and I hope you have a fantastic day.